Hello everyone, this is Juliet here, and I am again without Marion. She's got lost in London somewhere, so a couple of people have, there's 4 of you there, four people watching, that's lovely. Where are you seeing me? Can you just put in the chat where you can see me? So I'm not sure what's happened to Marion, and a couple of other people might come on the call if she doesn't turn up. So people are very welcome to join and share with me how they're doing this week, because this call is all about helping you, helping us emotionally process what's going on, helping you to understand what's going on, helping us to understand what's going on, because it defies understanding some of the time, and it's really hard to get through the days. And I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but a lot of people that I'm speaking to are finding that. And so I don't know if Brigitte might come on the call. And Paul, if you're watching, I'm sending you a link as well. So I can give you all short little bits of time to share how you're doing. So yeah, it's been a really lovely warm day here, and I'm looking out of my window and there's just like a sea of green fields in front of me, and the tractors have been making hay, the farmers have been making hay in the fields, and we're just making some hay ourselves. I've been down in the Healing Gardens today with a team of people, and we run a gardening cooperative, and several times a week people come and start helping out. We all join together and we plant things and grow things together, and everybody can take away food. There's such an abundance down there at the moment. There's lots of artichokes, big beautiful globe artichokes growing, and lots of chard, and all the seedlings are coming up, the carrots and the beetroot and all that kind of thing. But what's an absolute feast for the eyes are the poppies. There's huge poppies everywhere that have just self-seeded. So if you're there and you're seeing me, I see that there are 3 people watching. Could you just let me know where you're viewing from, so I get a sense of that? You could just put something in the chat. Yay, okay. What do we have here? So so Marion is my eyes. So beautiful weather. Who's this from? Beautiful weather today for the allotment. Is that Paul? I can't see your name. Been weeding, sowing, watering, and loving it. Yes, it's really soothing. And Glastonbury is the kind of place where people come when they're kind of despairing on life. And we've got another in deepest, darkest Essex. Welcome from, I hope you have some sunshine in Essex. I used to live in Colchester, so it's Paul. Yay, Paul, hi. So would you like to come and share a little bit, Paul, about the value of your gardens? You have an allotment, and I'm not sure if you have a community gardens, but in a moment, maybe I did send you a link, just come on and share about how that's helping people. I was just saying that here in Glastonbury, otherwise known as the heart chakra of the planet, it's like people turn up in their droves, hoping for some kind of spiritual redemption or spiritual experience. And it is a very different place, and it's, first of all, Glastonbury's never been normal. It's a very colourful place. It's a bit more like India than England in some ways. People are very, very alive and colourful, and have different mindsets about things. So that's beautiful. But also people who are without hope come here. So always puts me in a good mood. Yay, the best therapy. Yes, gardener nurse. So we've got like a developing shanty town on the edges of Glastonbury, because we have a lot of homeless people, and people that feel adrift from any connections with their families now. Good afternoon. Who's this? Good afternoon. From Scotland. Wow. People coming from all over the place. That's amazing. Please excuse me, because maybe if I put my glasses on, I can see things, but I'm very vain, so it's hard to put my glasses. And yay. So yeah, there's always been a lot of travelers here, but now there's a big, like a developing shanty town, and people are in despair. There's a lot of people really, really in despair, and that I've got a few people that are staying at Healing Waters, that are here volunteering, and are feeling such deep, deep despair on a daily basis, and they're feeling like they're giving up hope that they're in some kind of other timeline or a totally altered reality from the mainstream, from their families who've been jabbed, for instance. A lot of pain for them, and they feel really dissociated and disconnected. So I've been doing my best to help them and inviting them to the gardens, and we're gardening together. So that really helps to ground people. Then I've got other people who've been members of the gardens for a long time, and they're finding it really, really hard. Because when you're in a state of anxiety, a state of high anxiety, it's really hard just to ground yourself, even though you know that's the best thing to do, to ground yourself and resource yourself and to engage socially. Because when we're really stressed, our social nervous system turns off, and it feels frightening to connect with people. So it's really important that those connections are built up ahead of time of getting into a bad state. So, Paul, would you like, I sent you a link on Facebook. Would you like to just click the link and come on for a few minutes and tell me how you're doing with your gardens, what's happening there, whether you're having this experience? I don't know if you can do that. Anyway, so I've been really trying to understand why it's so hard, although we've got a massive information coming out now, and people in their millions turning up and speaking about somebody's coming. Hello, it's Marion. Hello. Marion, I was just without you. Have you just managed to arrive here on the tube?
Yes, I've been stuck on the tube. There's been some shenanigans. I don't know what's going on. Right, can you see me? Wait till I am now.
But you look like you're in the beach.
Oh, on the beach. It's
where are you?
St Pancras. It's gorgeous. I thought, right, I'm just going to get off and I'm just going to relax in the station. Right, you are. It's a bit strange on my phone.
I'm here. You probably, it's probably so bright that you can't see. So it's wonderful. So here I am in deepest Somerset, and we have lots of people that are. I can't, like, if you can't see your phone, that's really hard because I was relying on you. We've got people from Scotland. We've got Paul.
Oh, fantastic!
And is it better to censor ourselves?
Here on this lovely plant pot. Is it better to what?
Well,
there we are. That's better.
This is message from Paul. Is it better to censor ourselves in order to maintain family relationships, or should we criticize ourselves? Should we? No, that's not criticize. Ostracize ourselves. So I was just raising the fact that, Marion, that we've got a developing shanty town around Glastonbury. Are you still there? Hello? Oh my God, we run this program by the skin of our teeth, Marion and I, because it's like we're both so massively busy, and like just trying to set up and be here on time is really a big thing. So please be patient with us.
Brown sugar.
What's that?
What?
Where did you go?
That's the best one, yeah. Yes, thank you. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you, and you seem to be doing something totally different now. So
Hang on.
this is an
Hang on.
interesting show. So I believe this lovely... I believe the lovely Rachel has been doing your trauma therapy. Yes, Rachel has trained with me. She's gone all through the year one, and she started on the advanced training. So, and has done a lot of personal therapy work with me. So you're right. You look like you're in the fairground, Marion, with those funny mirrors. What have you got there?
I've just had a cup of coffee delivered. What could I say? I thought I had to sit in one of the cafes so I could get a good signal, Wi-Fi signal. And I'm in a deck chair. Look at that! I'm sitting in a deck chair on the top, like a parade that goes around the station, inside the glass roof of St Pancras. So it's rather nice, actually. I was a bit stressed because I've been sat on a tube for 40 minutes, like not moving.
Oh my God! And were you going? Oh, I'm late.
Yeah, yeah,
let Juliet down again, and
I'm never gonna make it, and I can't connect with anyone because the tube was just stopped, and there was a suspect package. I think, yeah. Well, there's more than one suspect package around, isn't there? Anyway. So what was the question you were saying about, is it best to stay quiet to keep relationships? Is that what you were saying?
Well, I just introducing the fact that we have some very deeply distressed people here in Glastonbury, that we've got a shanty town developing on the edge of Glastonbury.
Really?
And, yeah, down by all round Riders Mound. And it's really serious. I mean, there's always this fringe to Glastonbury where a lot of travellers come, and the people who are very desperate now, that they're even more desperate because they've got no job, they can't find anywhere to live, they're being cut off from their families, or they feel very isolated because their family members are getting injected, and it's like their heads are completely swimming, and a lot of them are resorting to alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
But there are some really very beautiful, I mean, they're all beautiful, but they're
beautiful souls.
Beautiful souls that have really been lost at this moment.
Yeah.
And a few people connected with the gardens here that I've given space that they can stay until they can come in somewhere. But, you know, quite clear that this isn't going to develop into another shanty town. The gardens are a community project to support people.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Julia, isn't it? Because you've really got to protect yourself. Because my sense is, if you become a refuge, that actually loses the purpose, the intention, if you like, of what the garden is all about. You're not there as the refuge, are you? You are there as a support to people on a very different level to a refuge.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I'm trying to teach people about gardening and to create that feeling of community, of value, where people can garden and have vegetables and produce, or they can come and sit in the gardens and relax, but it can't turn into a shanty town.
No, and also if there's a lot of trauma and addictions with substance use, that is absolutely not the type of energy that goes with the community gardens that you've created.
No, so we have a rule everywhere that I'm involved, like Healing Waters Sanctuary and House, and if I rent some rooms to people or the gardens, there's always like no alcohol, no drugs, no cigarettes, because we need to really have a safe place where everybody feels welcome but supported but protected as well. So I can't open up to those things.
No. And then that's the issue, isn't it? Because when people are so heavily steeped in their compulsions for whatever reasons to cope with their trauma, they then become their victims, and so they get quite blamey and quite entitled or something. So yeah, you need to be protecting your big kind heart with all of this.
Bless you.
Yeah.
And I totally understand how much addiction is an indication of trauma. That's really, that goes without saying, that if you're suffering from addiction, then there's a lot of trauma there. But in order for us to function and to do the healing work and really support people, then we have to keep that clean energy field and not get sucked into that. So
absolutely. My picture's frozen. Is it frozen on your side as well?
No, not at all.
All right.
So I believe the lovely that we've seen about Rachel. So yeah, how are you, Marion? What's been going on for you?
Very good. I'm in. I actually spent some time with one of my teachers today, my kinesiology teacher. And so we're doing some really deep work on patterns because I'm aware that my eyes are getting very stressed again. And one of the things that is coming up for me a lot is my peacekeeper. So very interesting question that Paul posed about being the peacekeeper. Because the problem with my peacekeeper is it is sitting on my anger. It's sitting on my frustration. And it's blocking and keeping me in a little box. That's very, very nice and very compassionate, but not compassionate to my anger. So it's out of balance. It's preventing me from feeling that I can express my power without making the other powerless. And then I'm in this huge inner conflict that my powerfulness disempowers another. And so then I give up my power, and then we're both disempowered. It's like, whoa, I don't know what to do with all of that.
Oh, that's really hard. It's like fucked if you do and fucked if you don't.
Yeah. That's the technical terminology, I believe, in the trauma circles that we are in.
Oh my God, I wonder if those trauma greats like Bessel van der Kolk and Gabor Mate use words like that. I've never heard them. It's like they've got such a genteel veneer.
Yeah.
When you see them talking and that, it's like...
Vessel's not a genteel veneer all the time. I've seen him. I've seen the fire in him. Yeah, I've definitely seen the fire in him. Gabor Mate, I don't think I've really seen much of his fire, but he talks about it. He shares from that place sometimes.
Good. So I haven't heard them speak about what's going on at all, have you?
No, nothing. Interesting, isn't it, that it's like they've stayed in their trauma box.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, are they just being politically correct? We've got a genocide happening on this planet.
Yeah.
And I mean, why aren't they all up in arms?
Because you choose where you focus, Juliet. We have to choose our battles carefully. And you cannot, because I know that we have very different ways of approaching this. And I can't, if I get caught into looking at what's wrong and fighting against it, I'm giving it all my energy. So I'm choosing to spend as much time as I can building what I do want. So the fight does come. The fight will come to me if I am confronted in any one moment in a specific situation or a specific person. But the fight is everywhere around me. So unless it's confronting me, I choose to focus on what I do want and put my energies into building that. So I sense maybe that's also what they're doing.
Maybe that's what they're doing, yeah. So we have another comment here. So let's see. You probably can't see these comments. Let me see if I put my glasses on. It's better to censor ourselves in order to maintain family relations. Oh no, that's what Paul said before. So that's the same thing.
Yeah. So I don't know that is true, because censoring yourself is squashing parts that need expression. Unfortunately, those parts can be very aggressive, violent, even sometimes. And so the potential for harm then is great, and that's what we need to consider, isn't it? It's the balance between expressing the frustrations of ourselves without censoring them, but doing it in a way that we maintain our sovereignty and we allow the other to maintain their sovereignty. It's to do it without becoming a victim and to do it without victimizing somebody else.
Yeah. But I felt more relief by actually speaking out now to my family where I actually stand on all this, rather than like trying to censor myself and be quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, it still comes back to that fuck if you do, fuck if you don't kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
but at least I feel like I'm authentic, and
Yes.
I can express, the concern that I'm feeling about
Yeah,
it.
and you're not sitting on the frustration and the concern. You're
Because
not just squashing it. Yeah.
absolutely, like as Gabor Mate points out, like trying to be nice. When you're looking at chronic illness, those people that are suffering from cancer, for example, are usually ones that are sitting on their feelings all the time.
Exactly.
Or
And that's what.
Very nice.
And that's definitely been happening for me. And as it's happened, my physiology is expressing like more and more imbalance.
Because it's
So I
going to
can't.
somehow.
It's got this inner conflict in it because I have to express myself. I want other people to be able to express themselves, but not at the cost of my expression. And so I have to respect that my expression can't be only at the cost of theirs, which is why I want to find both of our sovereign positions.
Yeah, and we need to, when we're not expressing ourselves, and there's a massive shadow, isn't there? Because everything's pushed down and pushed down and pushed down.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's happening spiritually or in terms of healing on the planet at the moment, is this massive eruption of all this repressed material. Like the global shadow is beginning to come to the surface.
Yes.
And I believe that in London this weekend there's going to be a demo about the paedophilia.
Ah, well, interesting. These demos happening at the weekends isn't doing us any favours, because nothing is open. We're not interfering with anything. We're not standing out in any way. London is basically shut down at the weekend anyway, so it's an interesting, people standing outside the BBC. Well, the BBC is practically shut down at the weekend, so it's making no difference to them.
So the demo should be in the middle of the week then, not the week.
Yeah, should be on working days.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're just getting hidden. We're just kind of getting hidden, and unless we are actually impacting business, normal 9-to-5 business, we aren't making any. We're not making any impact in a way that's going to, create any change.
So I was interested that the people who run the Truth About Cancer, the American group, would you know them? What's her name?
Ty Bollinger.
Bollinger and his wife.
I can't remember her name.
Ty and Charlene Bollinger.
That's right, Charlie.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to that program yet, but they've opened a war room.
Good, because this absolutely is war, isn't it? This is it's biological warfare, out and out, no doubt anymore.
Yeah, so it's about strategic planning. It's like I haven't managed to listen, but why haven't the criminals been captured yet? Why haven't they been brought to trial?
Because they're the ones running the show. They're the ones running the legal show, the corporate show, the media show. They run it.
Yeah, but what's
It's like, who runs the world? Those people. Beyonce was wrong.
Meanwhile, they say the White House, there's legal trials going on there.
Yeah, I don't. There's two. It's like with these whispers. I don't know how much of it is true. There was an interview with Reimer Fulmick yesterday or the day before that I watched, and he's said that these trials in Canada that have been in the news aren't actually the truth of the matter. So we need to be very aware of information and go as close to source as we can to discover how much truth there is in any information. So when people are talking about those Nuremberg parts, this whole case that's going on in Canada, and it's been labelled as that name beginning with N. I shouldn't say it again, should I? I bet you that's a captured word.
That's for that reason I've been banned for 4 weeks from Facebook, because I put a link up to those trials.
To the N word. Well, actually, that N word, it's not it's not in the position that some of the reports are leading us to believe. And because Reiner is the guy who's doing it, we need to look at where is he most recently spoken and what is he saying. So for me, he is the source of that information. In the UK, there is Michael O'Byrne-Sia, is dealing with the actual shenanigans. He's the guy dealing with it. So it's where can we go that we are not listening to, rumor mongers or psyops or alternative fields of information that are coming in just to make things even messier. And we need to be so discerning.
Yeah, so very vigilant about what, and so pure in our focus. And,
So the rhinophalmic thing was very interesting. I'll get a link to it and I'll put it under this call tonight, because, as I say, from the horse's mouth for me is the only place I'm prepared to listen. There's so many stories about there's shortages of this, there's problems here. We've got people in the supermarket and in the market today. One lady was going, oh well, I've heard that there's a shortage of plastic bags. And somebody else was saying, and it's just like, these are just rumours.
Well, it's the whole toilet paper. I think the rumours deliberately created, because this comes to the core of what I've been exploring, that Brian Garish, the UK Column News, he's been researching for a very long time about the mind control programs. Put forward by the Behavioural Insights team that's been developed as a result of the Operation Paperclip and the MK Ultra program. And he was saying he's got actual documented evidence of the government plans to roll this out. So that's on UK Column. He's been researching for the last few years since he out of the military. And he said that every single thing that's done by the government, every statement, every piece of written material has been meticulously prepared to put people into a state of panic, a state of fear, and a state of confusion. There's nothing random about it.
No, not at all.
Every time they change the rules, it's done deliberately to get people so upset.
Absolutely.
They're much more manipulatable, and it's like also putting misinformation into it.
Yes, exactly. The misinformation that appears to be on side is often the most destructive or disruptive to our, the truth movement.
Yeah.
Because it appears like it's great news to us, or it's, it's worthy of our attention, and it's just another line to pull our attention away. I mean, one of the things that was really, for me, and it still shocks even after a year into this whole shenanigans, is how quickly they were able to print, 2 meters distance stickers and flyers and posters and adverts and mask up adverts, and like how much content, physical stuff and audio recordings on trains and buses was absolutely ready on time for a supposed, shock pandemic.
Yeah, we need the whistleblowers from those factories.
We do. But I mean, the whistleblowers would have to be the guys high up, but they're getting paid. People getting paid don't say nothing, because they're scared they'll have their money taken off them. So again, it's in fear. They're frightened to speak up because they've got used to being in the pocket of.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what was that? Was that
what
you?
Was what?
Very loud ping. Did you not get that?
It came in on my computer. I don't know how that is. Sorry, I thought.
All right, it's all right. That was
what?
Deafening.
Oh my God, that was right.
My ears are bleeding.
Oh, you just started doing that. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. So tell me, you understand about NLP, because he was saying the way that documents are written about where the full stops are put in, for instance, that they're giving you, that you read it with your conscious mind, it has one meaning, but your unconscious is reading a totally different meaning, and that's what they're wanting you to get by the way that they've structured.
Absolutely. Well, NLP is basically an understanding of how our neurology is wired by language. That's it. It's understanding the power of language and the ability of language to wire the brain. And the way the brain is wired then influences how we feel, what neurochemicals and what state of our nervous system, all the stuff that we look at in trauma. So language patterns and the way language patterns and language systems are composed and illustrated and expressed are all, you can see what each part does and how it will impact the neurology effectively of people, or how it impacts the programs that are already in the neurology. So, for example, if you're consciously obscure about the way that you speak, so constantly using conditional language, so lots of coulds and woulds and shoulds and if. So conditional basically means it's not true, it's not here and now, it's imagined. So if means, well, if you're saying if, it's not here yet. Could, again, it's not how it is. So conditional language is actually not the truth. It's not to say it's a lie, but it's not the truth.
So,
and you could write a whole book using conditional language, and people will leave at the end of it believing it's true, and it's all full of shoulda, woulda, couldas.
and that's what they've done, is it? That's
It's one of the techniques. There's loads of them. Understanding the strategies that we use, like one of the big ones that happens with NLP that I know in marketing is what is somebody's buying strategy? Well, our buying strategies have been programmed by advertising. So they understood what the pattern was kind of like as an innate human pattern. And then they've hooked into that and they've driven it to create pathways and strategies that are designed then for them to get their messages in even deeper into our psyche. So it's very clever, very toxic, and very, very command and control oriented. Yeah.
So if go on.
The guy who I first saw did this really well is a guy called Richard Bandler, and how he started was he saw this like amazing hypnotherapist called Milton Erickson. Now Milton Erickson just naturally understood through his own learning style and learning skills. He naturally understood how to take someone into a hypnotic process and take them deeper and deeper and deeper. And what Bandler did was Bandler studied Milton Erickson's language patterns, his structure, his pausing, his punctuation. He studied all of that and started to understand the mechanics. So Milton Erickson had an art. He was an artful hypnotherapist. And then what Bandler did was Bandler came in and saw the science behind the art. So then the ability then to use this artistry in a way that is, meticulously designed for whatever the intent is of the people who've mastered this is why it's used so widely. And it is the fact that it is actually, it's wiring our brains. It's how our brains are wired. It's how our brains are reacting. It's how our mind is reacting. And then, as we know, that's just part of a cascade that then goes on into the body and into our own behaviours and our own inner workings.
Yeah, because a lot of the hopelessness that people are feeling now is like we had this months and months and months where we thought, oh, well, if we can just get the facts out, if we can just get the information out, if only there were more whistleblowers. And there's more and more and more and more and more information that's come out. And then we put it forward.
And it's making no difference.
It's
making no difference.
It's making no difference whatsoever. Because
I saw a really, really scary video day before. And it was a woman. And she had posted little flyers. And all it was saying was, there is a yellow card system. And if you are going for your vaccination, then this yellow card system, you need to understand about it so that you can report any adverse effects or adverse events. And she went down this line of teenagers, and they were all in a queue, all masked up, all doing their 2 meters thing. And she was practically physically attacked just for suggesting that they look at the flyer.
Really?
And she wasn't saying anything. She wasn't saying don't do it. All she was saying was, so there's some information here about the yellow card system. Can I give you a leaflet? No, go away. No, go on. Literally, they were getting really aggressive and forcing her out of their space. And all she was offering was information about the yellow card system. So they've been programmed by the news saying if someone's an anti-vaxxer, they are a danger. If someone's and they've put this whole cloak on everybody who's not masked up, exposing the top of their arm ready for the jab. If you're not in that posture, you are the enemy. And they've programmed, and this was young people. This is people in their teens and 20s, Juliet. Scary as, and obviously the video, you know, for the fact they showed the worst little bunch. But person after person after person after person was physically aggressive to this woman, and all she wanted to do was give them information. Very sad.
That kind of thing makes you feel really hopeless, doesn't it?
Yes, it did. So I stopped watching it because I thought, me feeling hopeless isn't helping me here. I'm going to go and look at what I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm always like wanting to know what I can do to make a difference. How it's like my soul is like wanting to penetrate through this, and that we can bring peace to earth, or whatever, I don't know, heaven on earth. And it's going out my way through this filth and this muck, and
it's at peace to self. We've got to stop imagining that outside of us is where it's at. It's like I'm starting to believe that I have to be okay with being, I know I'm not the only one, you know, but the drama queen in me has to be okay with being the only one who thinks the way I think. I have to start being okay with that. Because if I keep fighting against how many people have a different way of believing what's going on, if I keep fighting against that, I'm wasting all my energy. I'm not getting what I want. I'm not building what I want. I'm not having the effect that I want. And in fact, I'm kind of creating what I don't want, because I'm bringing conflict and resistance in where there's just opinions that I don't like. So why do I have to bring all my energy in to bring resistance and conflict in there? You know, I'm kind of in a situation where I think maybe I definitely would rather die than be jabbed. And I've always said I'd rather die of COVID than the vax, which is still true.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got my own opinions about that.
Say those words, though.
Oh, I know. So, but yet it's not about, this is about me looking after me and knowing that I'm in my power in any moment, that if something does happen where I can step up, and I can, like children, I can protect a child or something if I have to, that I'm actually in a place where I've got as much power and as much energy to do that. And if I'm constantly in resistance and constantly fighting and constantly looking to change people's minds and constantly looking for the whistleblower and constantly doing all of these things that we've all been doing for the last year, we are ending up without any energy or power to help when something does come up, that if it needs our power, because we've kind of used it all, you know.
Yeah, it's completely exhausting and demoralizing.
Yeah.
That's really difficult. And it's like when we get into the fear and the panic, like, oh my god, this terrible thing's happening, I've got to do something. When we get into that space, then all our energy is drained away. And it's agony, and it's like these thoughts just circle and circle and circle in the head.
Intrusive, compulsive thoughts. This was one of the things that came up in my process today. That when I'm in a state, and this happens to all of us when we're in a state, there's that looping thought. You know, could be I want to kill them, or I want to leave, or I can't cope, or oh my god, I can't believe it. Whatever that little looping thought is, and this is one of the things that NLP understands these processes. And at its best, it's useful because it helps to clear. It can be used to help to resolve and clear these processes. And at its worst, it knows how to create and strengthen these processes. Yeah.
So the other thing that I've come across this week is like the number of people that feel like they're all alone, that they're the only one. I was speaking to a friend who's NHS nurse today, that they've all her other nurses around her have been jabbed.
Yeah.
And like, how can she stand up against it? It's like, I'm the only one, and but she doesn't want to get jabbed, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I supported her and said, don't do it. But it's interestingly, and this must be where the NLP and the mind control stuff is coming in. Like another friend who's a chiropractor this week, she was absolutely against. There's no way that he was going to get jabbed. And then I heard a few days ago that he'd just been really, really ill with a massive heart attack. and had
Whoa.
been in hospital following 2 jabs.
Wow.
Is that
So
how
the
did
heart attack was after the second one, yeah.
yeah. How did he get from being totally against it to suddenly agreeing and having those 2 jabs?
Yeah.
Because it seems like that's what's happening to people. It's like they're but something is like got into their minds in some way.
Exactly. It's exactly what happens, and it's the program. It's a neurological program, and it is stimulated by language and the use of language. This is what NLP is. It's such a super powerful, and it's a vast set of techniques that they use, but the principles are all the same. It's the neurology and the linguistic stimulus that enhances or affects neurology. They're scary.
Scary. So how do we protect ourselves from that?
To me, it's about staying connected to the body. It's looking at because if working somatically, which is what we do a lot of in the trauma work, isn't it? Work somatically, stay connected somatically. The body's full of wisdom. And I know for me it took a while, but learning how to distinguish between a gut reaction no and a fear-driven dread. There's a huge difference between those two things. And they both just feel like a no to me. But actually, a fear-ridden dread no is completely different to a gut reaction no. A gut reaction no, I stay in my body and my body stays powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm in this gut-wrenching doubt or whatever the fear-driven processes are, I dissociate very quickly.
Yeah, and that's more of a panic state as well. Either it's like you're totally not there and you're dissociated, or you're panicked. So I think
you're completely in your head.
Yeah.
That's the other disembodiment that happens to me, is just stuck in thought, like a computer going on in my head. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's interesting how many people that think they're very present and they're very intellectual, and then they prove themselves to be really disconnected. Yep. They're the ones that's like, oh, show me the science. Well, that's not science. Or they're just totally dissociated. It's just another way of splitting.
Yeah.
Dissociative split.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think also, like what we're doing now, this idea of how can we share, how can we help people to know that they're not on their own? I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, I'll get my building there. How can we help people to know that we are here and that you're not alone? And, we might have vastly different opinions about many, many things, but that's okay. I'm quite happy for people to have different opinions to me, as long as they don't try and force theirs on me, and I don't have to force mine on them. We just allow each other to have whatever we've got. And I think that's the biggest key, is just when I know when I'm allowed to be me. My body feels.
Yeah, it's a relief, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, people listening here, how much are you able to stay in tune with your body, or how much do you disconnect? How much your heads?
Wriggle your toes. I say that a lot, don't I, when I'm working with people, or when we're having deep conversations about things that spin us out into thought. Keep wriggling your toes. Come back, wriggle your toes. I think I've had NLP teachers teach me that.
Really?
You wriggle your toes, you stay in your body. This is the thing, a lot of really brilliant healers use it because of how powerful it is.
Yeah,
it's a tool. It's not a negative tool. It's used negatively or it's used positively. It's a fucking amazing tool, phenomenal tool. Or tool set, actually. It's a whole tool kit. Or it's not just one. It's incredibly powerful, and it can be used, benevolently.
And I think what's important is here is understanding that the government hasn't just messed up and done something that's caused distress because they've been careless or not clever enough, but that there is a deliberate intention that they've taken the tool and very deliberately used it with a very
Meticulous planning. And this level of planning has been going on for centuries, even maybe more, I don't know. But it really is. It's so much bigger than any of us have ever really given it credit for. Well, not any of us. Many of us have ever given it credit for. It's been meticulously planned for a very, very, very long time. I mean, going back to, Jesuits, and going back to literally, even Jesus got it, didn't he, with the money lenders, throwing them out the temple. It was the only time that Jesus was ever aggressive, I think, that's written in the Bibles. It was about money, and money is just a tool of enslavement. It's one of the tools that they use. It's like people talk about loosh, isn't it? They want our loosh. They want our negative energy. They want us. They love it when we're scared. And if we get scared and we're near the ley line, then the fear can be channeled through the ley line, and then these bad entities feed off that as well. And it all sounds very Hollywood. It all sounds very movie or very fiction, but it's not. It's based on a real, a reality of ours. A reality that's been, again, we've been kidded into believing it's fictional, but it's not. It absolutely isn't. Our energy, our divine right to the energy that we're given, and our will that we're given, and our emotional journey that we're given, and the energy that creates. That's the beauty of being human. And so this energy that's wanting human energy, it wants human energy that's full of shit. It wants human energy that's full of fear. It wants the human energy that's full of shock and trauma and all of that stuff. That's what it feeds off, because that keeps it in power, because we are victim in that state. And we actually are, aren't we? We are totally disempowered. We're disembodied. We're robbed of our own brilliance. We have our prefrontal lobotomy as soon as we go into fear. We lose the brilliance of the multidimensional humanity that we are as beings when we go into fear. So it's this really weird game, if you like, that we're in. And we don't know how powerful we are. We don't know how powerful we are. We don't know how being human and having free will and having this blessed emotional possibility of a journey that we've got in this lifetime, in this body. We just don't recognize how brilliant that is. And so, and part of why we don't recognize it is because this plan has been laid out meticulously for ages and ages and ages, eons. And it's talked about in all the great religions. It's talked, in the Hindu religion, which I know a lot more about than my own Christian religion, actually. In Hindu mythology, they describe all of these different aspects here. And then Ravana, devil energy, and Ravana's everywhere, but all the Hindu gods come and squash him and stand on him and cut his head off and cut his arms off. The Hindu gods are just the good guys going around like slicing all the Ravanas up, and then the Ravanas are there trying to be the bad guys all the time. And it's a constant battle with light and dark. And they're all metaphors, but they're all metaphors of our reality. They really are. It's just, I feel like I'm in the best Hollywood movie ever. Well, it's the best Marion movie ever. It's just amazing, because it's a thriller, and it's a horror movie, and it's a detective story, and it's a esoteric fairy story, and it's everything all mixed into one. And I've got no fucking idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Because it is the best film ever, if I look at it from those terms.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying it that much. I don't like thrillers, and I don't like. I just want to sit with tranquility and beauty and goodness, and that excitement of seeing things grow. Oh my God, the gardens are just about to be amazing. There are some spectacular poppies, they're like, oh, absolutely exquisitely beautiful, these poppies that have just arrived and opened. I mean, that's what really, really lifts my heart when I see that. And it's like the brilliance, the intelligence in nature, you cannot ever consciously create these things. It's like the intelligence, that life force energy that just totally transforms and lifts you. And yeah, that's what turns me on. Not these horror movies. I don't want any horror movies. Yeah. So Marion, where have you gone? What's happening? Suddenly I can't hear you. So, hello? I can't hear you, Marion. Can't hear you. Ah, now we've lost connection. So hopefully she'll pop back. Here she comes. Oh la la. So we've got a comedy show now. So just bear with us, folks. So from what we've shared so far, oh, let me see. I haven't been on the chat recently. Hang on. Let's see. Hang on. Yeah, so catching up on the chat here whilst Marion is sorting herself out in her deck chair. So we have here, is it better? Oh, we've had that one. So here we are. I agree about the demos, Marion. Have you heard about the no vax fast? No. I haven't. A fest. Oh, it's a fest, not a fast. Okay. Well, I'd love to have some information about that, Zoe. And Abigail. So what are you saying? Do you not feel that you are banging your head against a very big brick wall? Just don't listen to the truth. They just, sorry, I'm jumbling everything up. They just don't want to listen to the truth. Yeah, that is how I feel at the moment. But as Marion said, we have to try not to be too distracted and just stay in our power. And you know, sometimes we do get in a bad place. We do get down, and we do feel alone, and we do get into fear and all those things that we know is not the best thing. But can we just sit with that? Can we give ourselves some loving kindness? Can we be with whatever is coming up and sit in compassion for the pain that we're going through, that we don't get it right? It's very hard, isn't it? When your stomach's churning and your heart is getting palpitations and you're in fear. It's really, really difficult. And then it's amazing how life just moves on. It's like if you can be with rather than fighting against it. And just be kind when those feelings come up. Give yourself the space. And then they pass. And then new life comes in and feelings of connection comes back again. And just as I'm saying that, yay, we have connection back here with Marion. So, yes, where did you go? You did some somersaults or something?
I got a phone call and then it just wouldn't reconnect. And then, hang on, let me just do this. And then it all went horribly wrong.
And you went upside down, you came back on for a second and you were standing on your head.
I'm a yoga teacher, darling. What can I say? Let me see if I put that like that. How's that? Very precariously balanced on a bit of cardboard next to a potted plant. Hello.
Okay,
yeah, so what I was saying was, you've made this. You've made the garden. You've made a space and a situation and a circumstance and a reality for yourself outside your door where you can go and watch the poppies grow. You know, where you can grow your own food, where you can share the space with other people. And so that's where, because you're saying that's all you want. Well, you can do that every day because you've made it.
Absolutely. But there's something, I like engagement with people as well. So to be able to share that with people, it's like I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the real buzz for me is that when people come and interact and they find benefit, they also, it's this feeling like sharing that experience with someone as well, that they also are uplifted by the topic. by the beauty, and then there's this resonance, this amazing experience, like, wow, is nature incredible, and like feeling really joyful about that result.
So if to resonate with somebody else having a experience of their bliss, they could be blissful about something completely different to what lights you up, couldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. And then we have sympathetic joy. Then we can be lifted by somebody else's experience.
Yeah.
Really having such a lovely.
Because that's what's being highlighted at the moment, isn't it? Is that this assumption that you have to like the same things as me. That's really being highlighted as it's a problem. It's a problem when we have this expectation that you will like the same things as me. Because that then it's becoming conditional. Makes it a conditional thing. Rather than this unconditional compassion, if you like. There's a really lovely, the thing that you teach in the trauma workshops, where you talk about, in yoga we call them the Parikharamas, the 4 embellishments of the mind. So there's friendliness, joy in other people's joy, compassion, and benevolent indifference is what we call them in yoga. What are they called in Buddhism?
Now you're asking me that. Now the word's gone out of it. The Brahma Viharas.
Yeah, that's right. The Brahma Viharas.
The elevated feelings.
Yeah.
Loving kindness, compassion, equanimity, and sympathetic joy.
Yeah.
So those elevated states of being, if we can get into those states of being, no matter what's going on, if we can bring ourselves back, then that can be our anchor.
Yes.
Like whatever we're being hit by, this is equanimity. If things really challenging, and it's like, don't get attached to it, whether it's really, really difficult and challenging, or even if it's fantastic and uplifting. It's like, try to keep some kind of stability, but you're not kind of just blown out of the water every time.
So interesting, because one of them in yoga we translate as joy in other people's joy. And that actually, if you think about it, you could go really far with that. Because it could even be, okay, so there's some, satanic, bloodthirsty something or other, after all my loosh. I'm really happy at the moment because it's getting loads of really negative loosh. Can I find joy in the joy of that?
Oh my God, can I feel joy that some demon is just feeding off my...
Your loosh.
Stress. Oh my God.
Could you?
Well, I think that's a really elevated, advanced state of being. That's like the Buddha that gives up his body to be devoured by the demon,
Yeah. And isn't that the truth of spirituality? The spirit never dies. And this body is the thing that dies, and our attachment to this body is actually our downfall. This is what the yoga teachings are all about. I can intellectualize about the teachings all day, every day, but when you try to embody it, it's a different story, isn't it?
Well, that is a different story, because there is that is true, what we were just saying, but then you can do this spiritual bypass, and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm aiming to be the Buddha that doesn't care if they're devoured by the tiger, but it's like, meanwhile, you are here in a physical body, and you have embodied on this planet for a purpose, and what do you need? What is it that you need to take your life forward? It's like, maybe there are some lessons that you need to learn or need to embody before you get to this other desired state.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 people didn't like that, because when I first came back, it was 5. Now it's on 2.
No, you think so?
It's possible.
Maybe they had a train to catch, Marion. Maybe they were also sitting in the cafe down the other end of the station.
Yeah, they're here in St Pancras somewhere.
I think they're in Scotland or somewhere like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's thoughts like that help me. It really is thoughts like that help me. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it feels better for me to be able to laugh about joy and the joy of some, Satan ritual or whatever. Well, why not have a laugh about it? Because if you take it all so seriously, it's Being serious is really attached, isn't it? Taking things seriously is super, super, super attached. And I know that you can become detached, which is no better.
Well, it's about balance, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a middle path, isn't there, somewhere between the two?
The middle path, this is another very important thing in Buddhism, isn't it? The middle path, balance.
Yeah, yeah.
But laughter is really good to be able to laugh at oneself.
Yeah.
In a kind way, not in a nasty way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Because then, your whole physiology changes when you can have a laugh.
When you laugh, and and when there's real joy in the laughter, it's a very different laugh to a snidey sneer, is it, or a snigger?
Yeah,
it's a very different quality. So, what other questions or comments have we got, Julia?
I don't know. I don't think there's been any more. When you vanished, when you went upside down, then I did put the other questions up.
So all the questions have gone. So who's watching? I've literally just got my message saying your battery is low.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of this amazing Marion Juliet show.
I know. It's a Pancras with my stripy deck chair. How fantastic!
I know. Did you go around and look for one?
No. I just knew I wanted to come upstairs.
Yeah.
I came into the station and I just came straight off the tube into the station, and I thought, right, I know where I'm going to be. I'm going to go upstairs. And as I got up the stairs, there's the stripy deck chair. And there's a lady who's prepared to bring me a cup of coffee and some nice little chocolate beans. What can I say?
Oh, how lovely. Well, I think I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. It's been like a mad dash for me all day. And then I had to rush up from the gardens to do a therapy session, and then rush to the post office to send my son a birthday present, and then rush back to do our show. And no Marion.
And there I do, rock up a bit late as usual. Yeah, I've now got to get back. I've got an online yoga class at 7, and then we've got our abundance party at 8 o'clock.
Oh, right. So it's a non-stop show. It's a
non-stop show for me tonight, yeah. I don't even know if I'll have time to unpack my shopping.
No.
But I was just so grateful to get off the tube. That was very scary. That was really interesting, because it's like I really do not have, and after being through some victim process today, I was like, thank you, universe. How much of a victim are you when you're on the tube in a tunnel and it's not moving? Like, powerless. Talk about powerless. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I made it.
Yeah, I don't like going on the underground.
Yeah, well, central London, you don't really... I'd have been stuck in traffic for hours and hours if I hadn't. So. But then I was stuck in the tunnel for ages. Anyway, I got out and I enjoyed sitting in the deck chair talking to you. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, my lovely.
Okay, so...
Are you coming to the abundance party?
Yes, I will be joining you.
Yay! Very good, very good.
Yeah. And
all
meanwhile, just for everyone listening, we do this every week. And we do. And, think of some questions that you would like to bring or things that you want to share, because we're looking to see how we can support each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to join us.
Yeah.
We're happy to have guests. We love a guest.
Yes, well, Paul was wanting to hop on board, but then I was just about to invite him and you turned up. So then
Oh, he'll be heartbroken.
I did. Oh, and Brigitte also.
Oh.
I know she's, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
So it's been a pleasure, as always.
As always, yes. So thank you, everyone. Please share. We're very badly restricted at the moment. When is there going to be something other than Facebook to do live videos to? That's what I want to know.
There are a couple of really cool platforms at the moment. Some of the people that I follow, Amazing Polly being one of them, they're using a few different platforms. So we can discuss other platforms, but it's finding a place where everybody's got access. This is the thing, because people have got so used to Facebook. It was so heavily invested in by the big boys because they wanted us all in one place, and it worked.
Yeah. really would be good to ditch them and then because I'm fed up with them trying to ditch me.
Just keep pissing them off. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, everyone. Lots of love. Please share the video and join us next week at 5 alive, if we're both still alive. Hopefully we will be. Yeah.
We are.
We are.
I'm hearing now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm hearing it now. Very good. All right, sweetheart. And thank you, everybody, for your comments and your playing with us. We love it. Game of life.
Bye.
Bye.